Okay. Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to today's Policy Manthan. And as you all know, that we are having discussions nowadays during our Policy Manthan. So, this Policy Manthan is also going to be in form of a discussion. And you all already know the rules that everyone has to speak. If you disagree with anyone, please just disagree respectfully. And I hope everybody participates, and I don't have to individually take anyone's name that person is not speaking. And there is no need to raise your hands. You have to just open your mic and you shall start speaking. So that was it, I think, for the instructions. You all are already familiar. And the topic for today's policy manthan is digital education. Some of you would be in favor of digital education, and some of you will might be more on the side of traditional education. So, okay, who would like to start?
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the topic for today's policy month, and I found this particularly very interesting because it is a very new and upcoming thing. And as for digital education, I feel like digital education bridges inequality. So would be yeah, it bridges inequalities. It provides everybody a chance to have a learning environment. But we cannot say that it is better than traditional teaching methods, in the sense that traditional teaching method is not only about teaching just the course material, but it also helps in an all-round development of the student. uh, it makes them socially, emotionally, and physically active. uh, Digital education is not at par in the sense with traditional education. It should complement traditional education, but it can't replace traditional education, and our country essentially lacks the infrastructure to do so, because like traditional education, every has a face-to-face interaction. So even the people who do not want to study, they are somehow forced to sit, and they do get something. But traditional digital educations, if somebody is not willing to study, he won't study. And phones and laptops and all these digital means have an era of distractions that would hamper the learning process. So that's my take on this.
Can I go next?
Yeah, you don't have to ask, Kushi.
Okay. So, मेरा view, मेरे according, what I believe is कि that the digital education supplements but can't replace the traditional concept of the classrooms. So, like जो भी हमारा जो सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं, बेसिकली द सब्जेक्ट्स विच रिक्वायर योर फिजिकल प्रेजेंस लाइक स्पोर्ट्स, आर्ट्स और लैब्स, सो वहां पे वी हैव टू बी फिजिकली प्रेजेंट. ये इस डिजिटल जो एजुकेशन है, इट कैन इट कैन हेल्प इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट, बट जहाँ पे रिक्वायरमेंट है कि फिजिकली वी हैव टू बी देयर, वहां पे जो ट्रेडिशनल क्लासरूम्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सेकेंड थिंग इज दैट कि जो हमारे टीचर्स होते हैं, जो हमारा क्लासरूम जो बेसिकली बिल्ड हो पाता है, वो टीचर्स एंड स्टूडेंट के रिलेशनशिप से बिल्ड हो पाता है. दे इंस्पायर ईच अदर, लाइक दे बोथ लर्न. इस चीज के लिए वहां पे जो बच्चे हैं वो आगे बढ़ पाते हैं, वो आगे ग्रो कर पाते हैं, एंड वो ट्रेडिशनल जो हमारे क्लासरूम्स हैं उसमें ज्यादा बेटर हो पाता है. एंड थर्ड थिंग जो मेरा सबसे लाइक आई सपोर्ट दिस थिंग कि जो इंटरैक्टिव जो सोशल रिलेशनशिप है हमारे, वो हमारे जो स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस के जो क्लासरूम्स होते हैं वो प्रोवाइड कर पाते हैं. लाइक देयर देयर इन ग्रीक फिलोसफी देयर इज अ फिलोसोफर एरिस्टोटल. एरिस्टोटल सेड दैट मैन बाय नेचर इज अ सोशल एनिमल. एंड ये लाइन क्या बताती है? ये लाइन ये बताती है कि जो इंसान है वो समाज का हिस्सा है, वो समाज में बढ़ता है, वो समाज में रहता है और समाज से ही जुड़ा रहता है. तो वो आइसोलेशन में कभी भी ग्रो नहीं हो पाएगा. तो हम इस कॉन्सेप्ट को अगर यहाँ पे भी देखें, अगर हम एजुकेशन से भी इसको लिंक करें, हमारे लाइफ में एजुकेशन इज अ बिग पार्ट। सो यहाँ पे जब तक बच्चे एक दूसरे के साथ में बातचीत नहीं करेंगे, एक दूसरे के साथ में इंटरेक्ट नहीं करेंगे, एक दूसरे को एक दूसरे से नॉलेज शेयर नहीं करेंगे, तब तक उनके अंदर ये सोशल स्किल्स डेवलप नहीं हो पाएंगी, लाइक डिसिप्लिन और टीम वर्क। एंड जनरली जो डिजिटल एजुकेशन है ना, इस चीज को कहीं ना कहीं लैक कर सकता है। एंड इसका एग्जाम्पल हमारे पास में है कोविड। कोविड में वी वर ऑल डिपेंडेंट ऑन डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म। आई अप्रिशिएट कि हमारे पास में ये प्लेटफॉर्म था। बट द मेन थिंग इज दैट कि अब जो बच्चे हैं वो काफी ज्यादा डिपेंडेंट हो गए हैं इस चीज पे। एंड जो हमारा ट्रेडिशनल कॉन्सेप्ट था, लाइक टू लर्न फ्रॉम द बुक्स, जो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है, लाइक अभी भी उन बुक्स में चीजों को जब आप सर्च करते हो तो वो जो आपका एसेंस रहता है नॉलेज को गेन करने का, अपने अंदर ग्रास्प करने का, वो कहीं ना कहीं लैक कर रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ डिजिटल एजुकेशन। सो इन लास्ट मेरा सिर्फ यही व्यू है कि हाइब्रिड होना चाहिए दोनों का। डिजिटल एजुकेशन एक सप्लीमेंट की तरह हेल्प करना चाहिए, बट ये रिप्लेस नहीं कर सकता हमारे ट्रेडिशनल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ लर्निंग। या थैंक यू।
Good evening, everyone. Today's topic of policy Manthan is really interesting, like digital education in India. So, when we talk about digital education in India, the first thing come to our mind is how it is going to bridge the gap. So, let's take example. Currently in India, a student sitting in a small village, we can take any state, like if you, for example, we can take example of Bihar. So in a state like Bihar, which comes in mostly poverty, we talk about poverty, etc. The Bihar is on top. So in a Bihar-like state, the student uh, can access to the same lecture that a student sitting in Delhi does. So the digital education really helps in taking a huge step towards the inclusive and accessible education for all. But if we go much more deeper into it, then we can find digital education also has some extent create inequalities. What I believe, like not every child have a smartphone, have access to a smartphone, a stable and regular internet connection, a peaceful study environment, uh, or 24 into 7 electricity. So these are the basic infrastructure that our country lacks. So uh, still, I have a firm belief that digital education uh, is a great, I would say, tool that really reduce the inequalities that still exist in our society. Like, for example, we can take the example of UPSC coaching. Earlier, the UPSC offline coaching the student cannot afford. Like the price of a UPSC coaching is around 1,75,000, 1,50,000. But currently, it is hardly 10 to 15,000. You can get the same teacher, same quantity, same quality education at a much cheaper rate. Everyone can access to it. So I think digital education makes the education more accessible, more inclusive. Now everyone can afford education uh, because of the digital revolution that we have in India. So I am in favor of digital education. But the traditional method of teaching is also really important. Uh, Both are complementary in nature, but I think digital education really makes really needed in India, India like a country, because our population is really huge. We lack in infrastructure, like in our college room. We don't have enough space to sit in starting classes. Like we start our uh, college journey, everyone coming to attend the lecture, and we don't have enough space to sit. So I think digital education really bridges the gap.
Should I go
Okay,
next?
so hello
Ma'am,
everyone. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, so according to me, I also believe that digital education bridges the gap. It can supplement the traditional methods of teaching because despite of education or in traditional method of teaching, they teach us how extracurricular activities help us in growing our personality, in how we can talk to each other, for example social interactions, and we get to know each other's perspective really very well. So for me, it is a great idea. For example, there are various digital courses like Swayam and IGNU also. So they provide a better knowledge facility for people or who are not accessible to colleges or other things. But there is a gap that can be only filled by traditional methods of teaching, that is social interaction. And for the sentence that Harshvardhan has said, कि digital education reduces the uh, social urban rural divide. For me, it is not like that. If I think from a gender perspective, only girls are get away from that, and they are divided on the basis of their gender कि लड़की हो तुम्हें फोन की क्या जरूरत है, ऐसा सब कह के उन्हें पीछे कर देते हैं कि आपको, आप लड़की हो, आप क्या करोगी अभी इंटरनेट से, तुम्हें अभी जाना चाहिए, क्या करोगी पढ़ के, ऐसा करके बोला जाता है। तो ये सारी चीजें हैं, प्लस अभी भी सारे ऐसे कई सारे गांव हैं जहाँ पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं पहुंची है, दैट इज द बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑफ internet connectivity. So I don't think it is reducing any discrimination gap for me.
Should I go next?
Yes, you may.
Okay. So I think like that education is something which we all often call that it is a great equalizer. And in India today, digital education is providing just that, because there are many students, as Harsh rightly mentioned, many students who are from extremely poor and underserved backgrounds. They are with just their smartphones or any low cost device and internet access are clearing competitive exams like NEET, JEE, and UPSC, which is completely changing their course of life. So it is, first of all, it is bridging the gaps. But of course, challenges are there. Of course, challenges are there. In fact, a study of Ajeen Premji Foundation revealed that nearly 60% of school children in India cannot access online learning opportunities due to the lack of digital infrastructure. However, however, with the government policies, with more inclusive policies, and with providing more affordable access to digital tools, we can truly bridge the gap, the inequality gap is currently prevailing in our country. And I do support digital education according to the what is current situation and current circumstances of country. Digital education can help us to come out from the crisis.
Okay, guys, how many of you support digital education?
Ma'am, me.
Like, raise your hands, please. Okay. So I think someone in the point mentioned that digital education is for the people who don't want to study. Please give a counter argument.
It is like this is the very wrong point, because there are many evidences where the people who are very like underserved use their phone, use the internet, and come out of the poverty loop. And there are many instances where the people cracked IIT, people cracked NEET, UPSC, and this is a very wrong point to keep.
I would like to put few like points for this. Like in digital education, we have the like kind of self-paced education. We get
Guys,
sometimes the
you should
recorder
just
like.
speak with your cameras on, please. Don't speak with your cameras on. Please turn on your cameras. That's not
Okay,
a
just
professional
give me
way.
a minute.
Yeah. Nikita, you may open your camera and your mic and you may continue speaking.
Okay, so as I was saying, the digital education have two major like points for me. Like it is self-paced. Most of the digital education we see today is our most of the lectures are recorded. Like we can go back to them and we can study, or if we have doubts, we can ask in the online lectures and we can go to the study. time. Let's take my example for instance, and like I am doing my masters, and with that I am taking the coaching. So it is like that I can do both of the things at the time. Earlier time when digital education was not so much widely available, so at that time the people used to have like either you do this or you do that, because there was a lack of resources, and you can't find like as a coaching classes everywhere. So it's like you are you can get more into your timings, you know, you can it is like kind of self-paced education. And my second point would be that we can get the global exposure. Right now we can search about what is the trend going on in the like big universities like say MIT or LSEs. We can study accordingly. The all the materials are digitally published, even the lectures are digitally available, so we can get the global exposure as well through the digital education. Yeah, so
Also,
please,
on the point, digital education is only for unwilling students who don't want to study. Say that there are various students the option of homeschooling, or who have very severe health conditions or something. So these digital education schemes and other criterias of homeschooling are very beneficial for them and helping them in their education. So it is a very great initiative, I can say, but it could be helped out with the traditional methods of schooling as well. So there should be a bridge or junction that could meet these two.
Okay, even I have a view regarding it. The assumption that digital education is only for the students who don't want to study is a very wrong way of looking at it, because digital education comes with its own advantages and disadvantages also. But few of the advantages, if I have to mention, are firstly that in digital education, we need to understand that every student is built different. We have different aptitudes and ability to understand the concept, and digital education provides us that flexibility to study things at our own pace. We can, as Nikita already mentioned, that we can repeat the lectures because they are already recorded. So it helps us to study at our own pace, and the method by which we are more comfortable to study at, which is I feel is a advantageous point as comparatively to traditional education. Second point, which I feel is very advantageous and is a very good point in digital education, is that uh, we can pool the resources and we can help to create public resources for other people to get access for free or at a very minimum cost. For example, for me also personally, if I have to get access to any resource or material, if I go in market and try to buy it, then it cost very much. So, but with Google and with online platforms, we can get access to these the books of these periods and these materials at a very reasonable price and often for free also. So, I think these are two of the things which are very monumental change in digital education, and we should really appreciate it.
Okay,
Can I go next?
okay.
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to say, like, bring forth a few data that I had found. So I know that a lot of people have talked about what's, the correct and like what's how Digital India is supporting and how it is not supporting people. But I also wanted to put forth the fact that there are platforms like Diksha, there's Byju's, there is YouTube, and there are also government initiatives like PM Vidya that have also helped in providing material in multiple languages. And as someone, like, I have been through a few slum areas in Delhi, and I have seen this thing that a lot of children in these slum areas, although they are going to schools, a lot of the times they are also very reliable on a very like studying from YouTube if they are not able to understand whatever is being taught to them in their own schools. um, I also want to put forth another thing, which is that what India's data prices are one of the lowest amongst the world. So even low income families are able to get at least one smartphone. And like someone mentioned here before, even during times like COVID, there were, Digital India was the lifeline. There were even doubt session classes, and it was one way that schools were still continuing in the whole world. Now, I do want to put forth a few, speaking about inequalities, I do think it's very debatable. When I was trying to find a proper, place where I stand in the discussion, it was very hard for me to figure out why digital India would be a good thing or a bad thing, because in my mind there were constantly points about how it is right and how it's wrong. But I just wanted to why I think that there is a debate about how digital India in inequality exists here, is because I think that inequality exists in digital India, but it's not created by digital India. I think it's a reflection of the old system that exists, and there is also the fact about the economic divide that exists. According to a data by ASCR 2022, it said that many families in the rural spaces, they still only use one smartphone, while wealthier families, they might be able to get better devices or high speed broadband. There are also paid courses, and they can also get private tutors online. But people, a lot of people in rural areas, or who might not be very financially stable, they have to rely on these free sources, because it's either school teachers for them. And even if they try to contact the school teachers, like I remember that when I was in school, I would always call up my teachers or text them whatever doubts I had. But sometimes that also does not help. So I feel like a lot of people here also, exam ke ek din pehle, we all might have also used YouTube to try to understand the concept. That was very difficult for us. But I do believe that digital India can only act as a supplement. It does not replace or traditional methods, because there is also practical learning. There's labs, and there is a lot of hands-on practice that needs to be done in schools only. And there are a lot of social skills that are also learned by schools, of emotional intelligence, of discipline or teamwork. And I do believe that one of the main reasons why people have a very tough time trying to concentrate in studying by a screen, is because there is a very there's the harm in mental health. There's it does harm your eyesight and your postures as well. So I think that education is not only the transfer of information, but I think that a teacher being present there is also very important, because and a school is not only for education, it does provide you a lot of other things as well. So yeah.
Guys, like Urvashi mentioned that काफी लोग एग्जाम से पहले they rely on YouTube. How many of you do the same thing? क्योंकि काफी classes miss होती हैं, be it college or school. So do you guys think, like, do you guys agree? Ki, let's suppose that we are not going to school, we are not going to colleges. Like many people don't. So do you think कि proper सिर्फ YouTube से पढ़ने से you can pass your exam or score well? How many of you agree? Okay, only Harsh agrees. Okay. यार मेरी एक दोस्त थी she उसने हमेशा YouTube से पढ़ा था and she got 92 in her 12th. I तो agree. And those who don't agree, please give a counter argument. Wait, guys. I want from people who are not speaking. Wait. Khushbu, Khushi, and Yashash. What's her name? Yashasvi. Guys, do you want to participate?
Yeah, sure. I think people we can score a good marks from while taking the help from other social media platform or uh, other platforms like Diksha and all other platform these people mentioned. But In the live class, we got a chance to interact with the teacher so we can clear our doubts, which is, I think, a most important part of our learning, that what we are learning, or are we able to connect that, or it's fitting in our mind or not. So I think this experience is also very necessary. I mean, like, we can score good, but if somebody teaching in person, that's a better way to learn.
Should I put my counterpoint point?
Yeah, sure.
Uh, through YouTube, you can of course score well, but education is not all about scoring grades. It is much more than that. You should have values, you should have communication skills, and many other things which are taught in schools. But as my previous point I kept is that in according to the current situation of our country, how many students do not, like so many of them do not have access to schools, and we have inequality which is not because of education. It is as someone else also mentioned, because of the previous things. It is inequality is there, and in order to gap this inequality, education will help. And it is more easier to provide digital education and cover that gap instead of sending students to school. Of course they should have been in schools, but now they are not. So digital education is helping us to gap the inequality. That's
uh, what I believe is कि, like I mentioned earlier that my point कि digital education can help like being supplement. So जब हम like classrooms में भी होते हैं तो teachers का काफी एक important role हो जाता है, like एक second, बस एक second.
Guys, wait. हम लोगों ने फिर ध्रुव की आवाज दबा दी. I think he wants to speak. वो बहुत टाइम से वेट कर रहा है अपनी टर्न का. Yes, ध्रुव.
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
हाँ, तो मेरे हिसाब से लाइक डिजिटल एजुकेशन सप्लीमेंट नहीं कर सकता ट्रेडिशनल मेथड को, क्योंकि लाइक कोविड में मैंने देखा है, मेरा और मेरे दोस्तों को, काफी दोस्तों का, कि अटेंशन स्पैन में बहुत इफेक्ट हुआ है. लाइक वी गेट इजीली डिस्ट्रैक्टेड बाय नोटिफिकेशंस एंड मैसेजेस आ रहे हैं किसी के, और वो ऐसा क्लासरूम में नहीं होता था. एंड एंड मोर ओवर कि वी हैव सीन कि मोस्ट ऑफ द जो कंटेंट होता है, जैसे दीक्षा ऐप हो गया, स्वयं हो गया पोर्टल, उसमें इंग्लिश और हिंदी में कंटेंट अवेलेबल होता है. एंड कहीं ना कहीं ओवर रिलायंस हमारी टेक में हो गई, तो हमारी लाइक बच्चों की भी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी थोड़ी कम होती रहेगी. तो मेरे हिसाब से लाइक इट इज नॉट अ राइट थिंग टू ओवरली डिपेंड ऑन डिजिटल एजुकेशन.
Yeah, I was saying something. There's some disruption. Yeah, what I was saying is कि हम जब अपने classrooms में होते हैं, so वहाँ पे teachers का monitoring होता है. तो उसकी वजह से लाइक व्हाट मेरे को जो फील होता है कि जब वो डेडलाइन जब सिर पे आती है कि एग्जाम प्रेशर जब आता है तो उस समय डिजिटल एजुकेशन कैन हेल्प कि हाँ आप उससे कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर कर लो. बट जो टीचर्स का जब वो कोई टेस्ट आ जाता है, जब वो वहां पे कुछ ऐसे कर देते हैं, दे देते हैं टेस्ट, तो फिर उसकी वजह से फोकस हो जाता है कि हाँ आप लाइक वहां पे आप फिजिकली प्रेजेंट होके अपना टेस्ट दो, वो आपको टेस्ट करें. सो सिर्फ डिजिटल एजुकेशन होम ट्यूटरिंग करके आई डोंट थिंक सो इतना बेनिफिशियल होगा. ये व्हाट आई बिलीव, ये मेरा पॉइंट है.
I also think that this all comes down to motivation. If somebody is motivated towards a certain goal, uh, like for government job or for some specific position they want to, then they would be more, self-reliant. Ki, Acha, mere paas koi, like teacher nahi, I have no pressure, but still I have to study. Like if somebody has not that much of a motivation to study, and there's just like कि school है, पार करना है, या college है, just pass होना है, तो they would have these issues. Just like Dhruv mentioned, digital education say, motivation say, people get distracted. But if somebody is motivated towards a certain goal, I don't think notifications and this stuff will affect it. traditional education is good for who can understand, but digital education has a broader scope of those who can't access it. And it also comes down to this is my personal experience. I feel like in digital learning platforms, teachers are quote unquote more motivated to, to teach the kids. We can call it कुछ भी हो सकता है उसका कारण, whether to get more subscribers on their platform, more people to get to know them. In traditional education, it is very we have teaching level have very degraded, so they just want to get the syllabus over with. Digital platforms have a very motive ki we have to complete the syllabus, we want more selections, or we want more people to from our institute to shine and top. So I feel like teachers motivation is also higher in digital education platforms.
Okay, I would like to add one point. Yes, motivation is very important. Now, when it comes to teacher motivation, the YouTube part that you said, I feel because teachers have the autonomy and liberty there to actually teach. If they have their personal YouTube channel, they do have a lot of autonomy how to teach, when to teach, what language to use. They have their own autonomy. When it comes to in schooling, they are bounded by different syllabus, different timelines, so they don't get that much of autonomy, and that is why teacher motivation do affect in teaching. That is my point about teacher motivation.
Also, I
I
can add
think
on the Ritika's point that on YouTube's or other platforms, teachers are also motivated because they also get some incentives, some extra incentives also, which makes them motivated. And in traditional methods or in offline classes, they are, I feel they are very underpaid or something. And professors in colleges are well paid also, because but in schools the teachers are very underpaid, so they don't get much motivation to make some efforts on that.
Uh, what I think so is that we guys are too privileged to speak that digital education is lacking us behind the attention span and lacking us behind the motivation. Think about the children who don't get chance to get in schools, and if they are using digital platforms to get out of their poverty loop, it is very good thing. We are just too privileged to talk about that. It is decreasing our attention span, and it is creating like it is demotivating us to study or creating distractions.
guys, the point Rishika just mentioned, I think it's somewhere a counterpoint to what Dhruv said, right? The point that Dhruv was trying to make was that his attention was he was getting distracted from the notifications and everything. And I also want to say that I just want to ask you, like, is it the mistake of a person that he or she is getting distracted, or is it the mistake of digital education?
Ma'am, I think the person's mistake, because whenever I study from my YouTube channel or sometimes from like app Byju's or something else, I turned off all the notifications off and be consistent towards my work. If someone is distracting from just a notification which is not even helpful or informative, then it is, I think, in my opinion, it is the person's mistake.
I think so. If person is distracted and demotivated, he or she won't study in classrooms also. So it's the person's problem.
And I
Uh,
feel digital education is there. I mean, we can't totally ignore that, but we have to set boundaries, set the limit. I mean, where, and especially awareness, especially if I'm talking about primary kids, that not all the kids are equally aware that how to actually use they, because I've seen many kids, they just in the rural areas, they just mindlessly scroll the reels whatever it is available to them, but in terms of study they are not aware how to actually use this phone they have in their hand in the more beneficial way. They are not aware at all. So I feel that awareness, I feel not kids, many people in rural area lack. that awareness that this phone in their hand is more than just scrolling YouTube or Instagram reels. So I feel this awareness thing needs to be looked upon. Yes, that's it.
Can I
So I
say
think
something?
it comes back to, I think, give me a second, Ritika. I think this again comes back to one's own choice, isn't it? If a child can know how to scroll reels, if that child can, learn how to use Instagram, so why not using YouTube? And also, Dhruv, I think Dhruv, you have received many counterpoints. So I just want to ask you that was it the class meetings that were getting disturbed due to PUBG notifications, or was it your PUBG game which was getting disturbed by your class notifications?
Like, to be honest, classes were not as interesting as it used to be at that pre-COVID time. So मतलब फिर distractions तो बढ़ती जा रही थी, वही हो रहा था मेरे साथ.
Yeah, I feel digital education में we just have an option कि वो छोड़ के हम लोग कुछ और चीज यूज कर सकते हैं, whereas traditional में वो नहीं होता, right? Ritika, you may continue.
Ma'am, can I speak?
Yeah, sure.
मैम ट्रेडिशनल में भी ये चीज होती है, मेरी क्लास में अभी भी बहुत बच्चे हैं, वो सिर्फ पूरी क्लास में 1 आवर तक क्लास होती है, 1 आवर तक सिर्फ रील्स स्क्रॉल करते हैं साउंड ऑफ करके। वो ट्रेडिशनल में भी पढ़ते हैं मैम, सिर्फ ये बच्चे पे कंट्रोल है कि उनको पढ़ना है या फिर नहीं। डिजिटल में भी ये चीज हो सकती है एंड ट्रेडिशनल में भी ये चीज हो सकती है। टीचर्स फुल फोकस से पढ़ा रहे होते हैं, फुल एनर्जी से, सारे आगे जो बैठते हैं वो सब पढ़ रहे होते हैं, लेकिन जो बच्चे मिडिल रोज में और पीछे जो बैठते हैं वो लोग ऑल टाइम फोन यूज कर रहे थे। और डिजिटल में भी अगर किसी बच्चे को पढ़ना है तो यूट्यूब खोल के पढ़ लेगा, अगर रील स्क्रॉल करनी है तो वो रील स्क्रॉल करेगा।
Um, can I speak? So I have 2 points. First, there are distractors in traditional education as well, and there are distraction in digital educations too. But it comes down to that digital education distractors are more accessible and they do provide a high dopamine rush. When you're sitting in a classroom, there's only so much you can do when a teacher is standing in front of you. So you are forced to, look up. That is why we feel like digital education has more distractors, but both of them have distractors of their own. And secondly, just like Ishika mentioned, I also was saying the same thing. If somebody knows how to, scroll YouTube or is on social media or any platform, like they do know that there is something like digital education and I can learn through this. So it all comes down to motivation and goals individual has regarding study. That's it.
So may I start?
Yeah.
So everyone speak well, but I am in the favor of digital education because in digital education, the average student can excel best. So if we take a scenario like in traditional teaching, uh, most of the time teachers repeat only once any concept. If you don't understand, they can repeat only once for you, not more than two or three. But in digital education, we have an option to repeat more time. So an below average student can also understand any concept easily. But in traditional mode of teaching, only a brighter student can understand in one go. So I believe that digital education gives flexibility to the average students to excel in any field. Like he can develop any skills very easily. And like if we talk about the speed of learning, like in traditional teaching, if a course duration is 6 months, then the course will going to end in 6 months. But in digital mode, you can get the recorded lectures and you can have a motivation, then you can finish in only 1 month. So I think digital education really revolutionized the whole education system, and in future also digital education really have a higher scope than the traditional mode of teaching. Like if you see the different university, they are also shifting in digital mode. If I talk about DU, like we have classes online. We have a digital center in DU where there are recorded lectures of the professor in different topics. You can learn from them to prepare for your examination. There are digital e-resources. Like every university now providing e-resources. You have digital access to whole library uh, of the university. So I think digital education really going to help and excel in the future.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
have one
what
more.
I what I uh, okay. Uh, the point that Harsh mentioned कि there are e-resources available. Like personally अगर हम DU की बात करें, वो जो रिसोर्सेज जो अवेलेबल जो दिखाया जाता है, मुझे लगता है कि मैं तो कभी उसको एक्सेस नहीं कर पाई। मेरे साथ तो ऐसा हुआ है, वो वेबसाइट पे हमेशा ऐसा ही होता था, वो कभी कुछ क्लैश हो जा रहा है, कभी कुछ हो जा रहा है। सो हमेशा आई गेस कि बहुत होंगे कुछ चीजें पॉजिटिव होंगी जहाँ पे हम एक्सेस कर पा रही यूनिवर्सिटीज उस चीज को एक्सेसिबल हमें बना पा रही है। बट कई बार ऐसा होता है कि वो सिर्फ जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ have that name कि हाँ we have e resources available, वो हो जाता है। like there are some students जो मेरे known में जो सोल के बच्चे हैं, वो लोग कभी एक्सेस ही नहीं कर पाते हैं। like अगर वो उनके पास वो बुक्स की तरफ ना जाना चाहे, वो कुछ ई रिसोर्सेज जाना चाहे, तो उनकी साइट हमेशा डाउन रहती है। एंड तो या आई बिलीव कि जस्ट फॉर द sake of name there are e resources available in some universities.
Should I made my point? Yeah, okay. So the point I have is cost of education. Due to the availability of digital platforms, we have like it has increased the cost to the bare minimum. Because previously for NEET, for UPSC, the student has to pay 2 to 3 lakhs in order to prepare. But now we can name it as a revolution brought by PW, brought by Alexa, brought by Khan sir, which has decreased the cost of education to the bare minimum. Now from lakhs, we have shifted to hundreds in order to prepare for this competitive exams. So I think so again, digital education is the one who is bridging the gaps of inequality.
Also, this point that Khushi mentioned that most of the e-resources are not very user-friendly. The Diksha, Swam app, I mean, most of these government websites you can't easily navigate through. They're very hectic to open, hectic to use, and very inaccessible. I mean, I better not choose these websites. I'll rather go and choose another website to actually find something by these Indian e-resources. And yes, but yes, yeah, that is my point.
I also agree that my college, when I go to take admission, they said you have digital ebooks access and all time 24 hours SCC online access, but they don't give. So sometimes digital education is also मतलब वो ज्यादा चीजें काम नहीं करती, वो लोग सिर्फ दिखाते हैं।
I
Yes,
think
I
so.
feel that the digital education is there, but I think in terms of preparation and implementation, we lack resources. Now, when it comes to our college Wi-Fi, I mean, is it really that fast as compared to Wi-Fi at our homes or at our PG? No, never, never. It never works. We have to use our own data. Now, teachers who wants to use some innovative and digital pedagogy to show us, projector nahi chalta. So I feel we lack. I mean, these terms are here. We lack on paper. I mean, on paper we see कि बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, but in implementation we still lack one of the I mean, major basic things that we need for digital education.
I
Guys,
feel so.
is there anyone who is pursuing law here? Okay. Oh, Rishika, you're pursuing law. I didn't know.
No, no, ma'am. I want to say that's where my hand were raised. I'm not pursuing law, though I study law because I have liberal arts, so I study everything.
Same. So, Ananya, like you are a law student. So, do you guys prefer more traditional methods or digital education?
मैम डिजिटल एजुकेशन बिकॉज
But
हमारे
I think
कॉलेज में जो भी टीचर्स आते हैं ट्रेडिशनली पढ़ाने वो लोग पुराने अपने जो लॉज पुराने टाइम पे उन लोग को जैसे सिखाया गया वो लोग भी हमें वैसे सिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं जबकि लॉ बहुत ज्यादा चेंज हो गए हैं तो आई थिंक उन लोग को डिजिटल मेथड भी यूज करना चाहिए प्रोजेक्टर्स हमारे कॉलेज में प्रोजेक्टर्स आर वर्किंग एंड दे हैव वाईफाई एक्सेस टू बस स्टूडेंट्स के लिए नहीं है टीचर्स एंड स्टाफ एंड all projectors are connected with the Wi-Fi, but they are not teaching on our smart boards or digital boards, but they are only chalk and duster or whiteboard using and books which are not amendments उनमें एडेड ही नहीं है वो पुराने बुक से ही पढ़ा रहे हैं हमको तो हमें वो सब चीज खुद से करना पड़ता है
Yes. Also, I feel when you said no, ki they use chalk and duster, I feel that most of the professor and teachers lack proper digital training. I mean, how to actually use smartphone, I mean, smart board, and how to curl out the best from the smart boards that are there. I am teaching in central government school. Most of the teachers, when they just put a video in the smart board and just children watch it. That's it. That is what the teachers are doing in terms of digital pedagogy in a central government school that is in Delhi. So teachers lack,
and
yes, yes, that's
continue
it.
continue एंड डिजिटल लर्निंग में वो लोग यूट्यूब वीडियोस ग्रुप पे शेयर कर देते हैं बोलते हैं कि देख लेना घर जाकर नोट्स भेज देते हैं कि ई नोट्स भेज रहे हैं डिजिटल लर्निंग हुई बट वो एक्चुअली में हो नहीं रही है जैसे उन लोगों को क्लास में सब फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड की गई है वैसे उन लोगों को करना चाहिए बट वो लोग एक्सेस ही नहीं करते हैं इस चीज को टीचर्स अपने ट्रेडिशनल मेथड यूज करते हैं बुक लेकर एंड व्हाइट बोर्ड एक्सेट्रा
Should I say now? I think so. The problems you are mentioning, you all are mentioning, is more or less college oriented problem, as most of you belongs to the same college. Because my university does that. My university is very good in providing things and stuff, e-books, e-materials. All of my readings for even my end semester exams readings are online. They provide us. They do everything. This problem is like college oriented problem. This is not like universal problem or a nation's problem.
ई बुक्स
भाई सब लोग दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के क्यों इतने फ्रस्ट्रेटेड? मैं देख रही हूँ
My
सबको.
university.
I also count in one. मतलब मैं भी तुम्हारी साइड ही हूँ. I am also from DU.
मैम आई एम फ्रॉम आईपी नॉट डी
Okay, okay. बट मैंने
मैम
देखा हर्ष, बीट, खुशी, वाईफाई सब गिनवा दिया यार तुम लोगों ने तो. टीचर क्यों नहीं पढ़ा पा रहा? क्योंकि वाईफाई नहीं है. ये ड्यू की अलग फ्रस्ट्रेशंस है मुझे लगता है. तो ओके guys, I want one of you to give a open ended question for others to answer. Who would like to put?
Ma'am, I want to ask that whoever who is like supporting कि digital education, like सिर्फ digital education is like best, like teachers की जरूरत नहीं है, classroom की जरूरत नहीं है. Don't you think कि digital education बच्चों को isolate कर देता है? वो बहुत ज्यादा अपने में हो जाते हैं, अपने वो सेल्फ को नहीं आउटशाइन कर पाते हैं एंड या
Should I answer? Again,
Yeah, Rishika.
my answer to this is we are too privileged to say this ki digital education is isolating us or it is may whatever demerits it is causing to us. We are too privileged to say that. Again, think about the people and half of the children, more than like not more than, but half of the children who does not have access and who are accessing digital platforms are getting out of their poverty loop. Think about them.
Yes, Prachi.
Although I am not like that supporter of digital education क्योंकि वो तो inaccessible है और वो divide create करता है
बट आई बिलीव कि ये जो लोनलीनेस आता है और जो लाइक लोग इतने स्ट्रेस में रहते हैं, इसका एक आर्ग्यूमेंट ये है कि हम इसको इफेक्टिवली यूज नहीं करते हैं। लाइक जिनके पास एक्सेसिबिलिटी है उस टाइम तक ठीक है, हम तब तक फोन में लगे रहे, हम तब तक कंप्यूटर्स लैपटॉप्स में देखें, ठीक है। बट जब टाइम आता है सोशल इंटरेक्शन का, जब आता है कि आपको फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज करने बाहर जाना चाहिए, आपको इवन इफ यू आर लाइक सिटिंग इन अ क्लासरूम, कॉलेजेस में अब ऐसा होता है वी आर अलाउड, अब तो फोन अलाउड है कॉलेजेस में, तो हम बैठ के फोन यूज करें इंस्टेड ऑफ पीपल टॉकिंग टू ईच अदर। So this loneliness that we talk about, that people are getting like they are lacking social environment and all, is not something that is created by others. It is itself created by ourselves. Like जब हमें सिर्फ पढ़ना है तब these digital platforms can be used, but there is a time that we need to understand कि instead of scrolling Instagram, instead of playing game, वो जो टाइम है जो हम entertainment को देते हैं वो हमें एक environment से लेना चाहिए। तो this is like कि loneliness तब फिर ये सारी issues से deal किया जा सकता है।
I think some people don't have choice in that matter. I feel like when you are in an environment where everybody is, in a school setting or a college setting, it provides you with access to like-minded people. If I'm not going to school or college and I'm just sitting on my laptop and reading and studying, I won't be able to, have access to that crowd that makes me want to go out and talk with people. Let's just give my example. In my locality or the area where I live, nobody in my family or the area is of my age. So I'm not able to go out and interact with people and have the time. Schools and colleges do provide me this platform to interact with like-minded people. So helps me more in my social, emotional, and physical development.
Also,
Yeah.
on this, I can say that we are mature enough that we can include our time besides the screen time to social interaction, or we can move away from that. But there are some children, some school going children, where Indian parents force them to only study, and whether it is from online study or offline study, doesn't matter. The parents wants their children to study for long hours. So if the child is studying from some online YouTube or something like that, then it will be a great way that he or she will be more isolated, and उसको इतना समय नहीं मिलेगा कि वो बाहर जाके किसी और से बात करे या खेले। तो ये आइसोलेशन का कारण भी बन सकता है।
Yes, Urvashi.
So I wanted to bring this point forward because Rishika said something that reminded me of this. I wanted to speak about this thing that a lot of this, one of the main issues that people have with, like, people who are from the rural areas or who might be in the slums, is that वो लोग school नहीं जाते. So to counter that, I know that in Delhi mein, there are a few NGOs who work towards like students education. I was a part of one of those NGOs. So I remember a conversation I had with one of the children where I was trying to convince them that matlab, school jana chahiye and to study and everything. And then, like, he just kept saying ki matlab, even if I don't go to school, it would be completely fine because I can just study from YouTube. So I feel like it's also, there's a huge dependency that people are having on the fact that even if they do not go to schools, this is an idea that's very common in their heads. It's कि even if मतलब स्कूल में एडमिशन है, so they can go for their exams only. But अगर ये लोग सिर्फ मतलब पढ़ने के लिए schools नहीं जाना है, बस exams pass करने के लिए अगर इनको पढ़ना होगा, so they can just study from YouTube and then go and study, just go and give the exams. So I feel like that is also a point that should be added here.
Okay, Urvashi, can you frame a question from your points which you just said? Like a short, open-ended question.
Well, I guess like I wouldn't have an open-ended question. I would just want to ask, like, do these do the people who are sitting here, do they think that this is a bad thing? Or because I feel like somewhere or the other we also end up doing the same thing, where we might not be taking our education very seriously. And like I mentioned before, a lot of people do use Digital India, and yeah, we do go to schools, but a lot of the times I feel like more than schools we are also dependent on, like, using online platforms like this as well. So if you ever had to like convince a child that they had to actually go to school, like what points would you put forward, I guess?
Okay, guys, wait. So I saw some of you were inactive, like Dhruv, Nikita, Yashasvi. Guys, are you here? Please open your mic and speak if you're here.
Urvashi, can you please explain your question? I haven't understood. समझ नहीं आया.
Urvashi's question was that, in short, how are you gonna convince a child to go to the school and not stay isolated? Right, Urvashi? But Kushi, wait. Dhruv, Nikita, are you guys here? You have not been participating. Okay, Dhruv is here. What about Nikita?
Yeah, I'm here just to you. I'll sit
Okay.
in.
Okay, Nikita, you may answer Urvashi's question.
So I don't have any like specific answer. Can you please repeat the question, please?
Okay, how will you convince a child to go to the school who just wants to stay isolated and study in, you know, study online and doesn't want to go to the school?
Okay, first of all, like that's a choice. Like most of us even do have like the social anxiety thing. Even I do. So I don't even want to go to the school. It is just the compulsion for me. But I would say that we have to do with the real life. Like it's the real life thing that we digitally can just scroll through the things, and we won't be able to go to the like what the actual problem is, and like how to interact with people. And uh, actually I don't know how to answer this question. I'll just give me the point. Give me a
Can I
minute.
think like I might be able to better frame it. I'm sorry I was not able to, many of you were not able to understand this before. So my main thing was that, considering that a lot of people, especially in the Delhi slum area that I've seen, is that a lot of children, although उनका स्कूल में नाम लिखा हुआ है, a lot of them are always at home, मतलब घर पे they मतलब घर पे रह के, like they might help their parents or just stay at home. So a lot of the times they, whenever we do try to convince them कि you should go to schools, they're always like कि we can just study from YouTube and then जाके exam देके आ जाएंगे. Now somewhere or the other I feel like a lot of people, even us, we also do the same thing. All we go to schools, but we are not actually getting all of the information that we might need. हम लोग भी कभी कभी online information ही use करते हैं exams के लिए, पढ़ने के लिए. So I feel like if we people are, we are also doing somewhere or the other, we're also doing the same thing. So how can we go ahead and like convince people in slum areas that they should also be doing the same thing? That is my question.
Okay, anyone wants to add any point?
I think schools, just like the discussion has mentioned many times, I think schools are not just for studying. And if somebody who has been to school, if they interact with other people, interact with our students and teachers, I don't think there would be a need to, even to get to convince them. I think it also comes down to a lot of social economic factors. If somebody's family is not that well, not well off would be a bit much, but somebody who has, has difficulty making ends meet, but they still want their education, they would consider this approach that we can study from YouTube, we do not need. But if somebody has actually been to school and interacted with peers, they would know that schools are not just for studying. There are like, other activities and you can interact with your friends. I think in this domain, schools should also, step up a bit. Everything's not about studying. They should allow a little liberty to students. Yeah.
Or maybe we can motivate them by telling them about the extracurricular activities that school provides. Like maybe किसी बच्चे का कोई talent हो, maybe उसको sports पसंद हो, उसको dance पसंद हो, और वो घर में बैठे बैठे उस चीज को कोई बड़े प्लेटफॉर्म पे ना ले जा सके, बट जो स्कूल से वो कई बार ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म प्रोवाइड कर देते हैं। तो वो हो सक ऐसे हम उनको बोल के बता सकते हैं कि लाइक द एक्सपीरियंस दैट यू विल गेट, द अपॉर्चुनिटी दैट यू विल गेट, वो तुमको ऐसे भी तरीके से हेल्प कर सकता है। सो या इट कैन बी अ रीजन।
Okay, guys, let's sum up our meeting for today. So, if I would if I try to build a conclusion, so I would say that you guys mentioned that there are many gaps that are lacking in digital education as well. There are many gaps like concentration and many more things in traditional education as well. But at last, I think what you all wanted to say was some said that we are privileged to say certain things. Some said that it is based on individuals' motivation to prefer what and how to study. Okay. Am I making any mistake? You want to correct me? Okay. No. Okay. So I think today's discussion was great. Did you guys enjoy? Okay. And Dhruv, please don't feel bad. We just tease you sometimes. Don't take anything on your heart. Anyways, okay. So I guess, guys, that was it. It was fun listening to your opinions, and you guys are very great when it comes to observations and speaking. So I guess that is it for today's meeting. Thank you everyone for joining in. Bye bye.
Thank you.